In a major setback for the Democrats, the voting rights bill, which is touted to be the most expansive federal election reform in the United States, has been obstructed by a wall of Republican opposition. Take a listen in.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to.
As the bill failed to break past that filibuster barrier, U.S. President Joe Biden and U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris have vowed to keep the fight going and said that defeat was only the beginning. Their drive to steer federal voting rights legislation into law will continue. The Democrats have vowed to redouble their efforts in the weeks ahead. Remember, this is a part of the Democrats' attempt to counter a wave of state-level ballot restrictions. Pressure has only been mounting on the Democrats to speed up a campaign to end the legislative filibuster. Speaking on the floor immediately after the 50-50 vote, the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer blasted the Republicans for obstructing the measure.
Once again, the Senate Republican minority has launched a partisan blockade of a pressing issue here in the United States Senate, an issue no less fundamental than the right to vote. Republican state legislatures across the country are engaged in the most sweeping voter suppression in 80 years, capitalizing on and catalyzed by Donald Trump's big lie. These state governments are making it harder for younger, poorer, urban, and non-white Americans to vote. This vote, I'm ashamed to say, is further evidence that voter suppression has become part of the official platform of the Republican Party.
Now, this was the test vote, which failed 50-50 on straight party lines. It fell 10 votes short of the supermajority of 60 that's required to advance legislation in the Senate. Otherwise, it would have cleared the way to start debating on the voting legislation. Let's also understand what this voting rights bill is all about. It's also known as the For the People Act. It's set to revamp the architecture of American democracy and touch upon virtually every aspect of how elections are conducted. The Democrats' historic bill is aimed at ensuring Americans can vote by mail. It would help striking down hurdles to voting. The bill will make the people have full access to early voting and use of ballot drop boxes. Besides this, it will also curb muscle power in politics and limit partisan influence over the drawing of congressional districts. Democrats and Republicans have been divided over who gets to vote and how. All this happened in the wake of an election marred by Donald Trump's baseless allegations of fraud. The Republicans are united against the measure, ensuring that the issue remains a political complication into the 2022 midterm elections and beyond. They argue that the overhaul is a federal infringement on the state's authority to conduct their own elections without fraud. They believe that the move is meant to ultimately benefit the Democrats. Here's Associated Press reporter Alex.